we're going live. It's Thursday at noon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon sounds so formal. I don't know about you all, but good morning. Good morning sounds light and airy and friendly. Good afternoon sounds kind of formal. Hey, Karen, you're back. How was Sedona? I always want to say Sedona. The pictures were gorgeous, especially that sunrise over the Grand Canyon. Beautiful. I'm sure you had a great time. So here we are in the kitchen. I'm Susan Wesley, creator of this group and self-taught vegan chef extraordinaire. I've kind of gotten really good at this, and so I like sharing what I've learned and recipes that I found that are simple and use very few ingredients, all stuff that you either have in your pantry or can buy at your local grocery for the most part, and whoop up pretty quickly, and your family will like. My husband's become my greatest fan. he loves Thursdays because he works till 5:30. He comes home and dinner's already ready, and he eats pretty much everything I make. He has a chicken breast in the refrigerator just in case that you can throw on the grill for later. But today we're gonna make the Three Sisters native stew, which I got from my friend Carol, who has since left us and moved to Florida, but you know, there's so many things that remind me of her. So I miss her, but I don't miss her because she's right here with me. And I also wanted to make some monster cookies. Back in the day when, I'm gonna start these onions while I'm chit-chatting because they always take a little while. So we got onions and garlic right here. I got a new insert for my pan. Let me turn it on, it might help. Thought I already had it going, but I'll show you. I got a new insert for my pan, no chips, because you definitely don't want to cook in a pot that's got the coating coming off or is even broken. Get more toxins. We don't need any more toxins. We have plenty in our environment, food we eat. So there went the onions and the garlic. That's the first step. We're gonna get those heated up and started, and while that's happening, we're gonna chit-chat here for a little bit about what we're making and why. It's November, and it's getting cooler out, so my body just automatically wants heartier, warmer foods, and I also want dessert. Just about every day my husband will say, "What's for dessert?" And he's not even a sweets person. So back in the day when my kids were younger and we went through a financial reset, wheat, for whatever reason, wheat, W-H-E-A-T, got really expensive. And so I had a friend who worked at a school and they were always making cookies for the kids, but they didn't have it in their budget to use flour. So oats were not expensive. And so they came up with this recipe called monster cookies. No flour at all, just oats. And you don't even grind the oats, you just use the oats whole, and peanut butter and eggs. And I'm sure there was some butter in there, and chocolate chips and M&Ms. They're delicious. So I veganized them. I didn't have to gluten-free them because they already were. And I made them a little bit healthier. So no butter, I replaced it with a banana. No eggs, I replaced it with flaxseed. And I buy these kind of M&Ms, which my grandkids say are better than the real thing. They were developed by a kid who was allergic to the dyes on the original M&Ms. So him and his dad got together and created these M&Ms. And I'm pretty sure you can find them at Kroger now, but when I first started buying them, I had to go to Whole Foods. So to color them, it's all natural. So what do they use, you ask? Radish juice. I'm trying to look through the list for what's in the... They're not vegan. There is dairy in them, but you do the best you can do, right? Turmeric, beet juice, spirulina, red radish juice. That's what they're colored with. So they're a little different colored, but my grandkids swear they're better than the real M&Ms. And then these are the chocolate chips I use. Enjoy Life, and you can find these at Kroger now. They come in mini and regular, and they are vegan and gluten-free. So that's what I use. And here's the cookies. Here's some of the cookies. I only made a single recipe. I didn't double or triple it, but it makes 20. I got 13 done. I only made 18 because I got a little heavy-handed, but there they are. And if you could smell them, you would be over here eating one right now. I'm resisting. Not before lunch. So the cookies are getting done. There's some in the oven right now, so I will get distracted. But I wanted to share that with you, and I will put the recipe in the comments. It's on my website, Monster Cookies. That's what they're called. So this recipe we're making today, my friend Carol made, and she shared it with me. And I don't know if if there was meat in it. I don't think so. The three sisters are Native American, not lore, actually. Remember, maybe you're not old enough, but remember back in the day around Thanksgiving, we always learned about the Pilgrims and the Indians, and the Indians taught the Pilgrims how to grow crops when they first came here. And they would put a fish head in the hole when they planted the seed, or part of a fish head, for fertilizer. Well, this is another story similar to that. In this story, the three sisters are three plants that they planted together. And there was, of course, a very good reason for it. So in the planting hole went corn, beans, and squash. So the corn stalk grew tall, the beans could wind around on it, and the squash shaded the whole thing. So they worked in unison together, and you got all three plants in the same planting hole, and that's where this stew came about. So we're going to use hominy for the corn. We're going to use red kidney beans for the beans, and God love my husband, he went to the store for me and he bought me the biggest butternut squash because I asked for one that was more straight because they're easier to peel. And I've probably only used a third of it. I think I would have never bought one that big, but don't tell him. I already critiqued him enough. I want him to keep going to the store for me. So here's the butternut squash. You could use any fall squash, acorn. Acorn you can't really peel though. And the summer squashes are, I mean, you could use them, but they're just going to be a different texture. So here's the butternut squash. And that was just like the very top of the neck, like that much. I've got all that squash. I think he really wants me to make him some squash soup. He loves squash soup ever since we went to Ireland, and he had some. And so I will have to surprise him one day and say, you were smart buying that big squash. Maybe I won't tell him that because I don't want him to buy me one that big again. Anyway, the onions are doing their thing. This soup goes together really easily. All you have to chop up are, there's that timer again. Let me get these cookies out. I forgot to smash these, so they're a little rounder. You're supposed to flatten them when you put them on the cookie sheet, and I forgot to do that. So we'll just leave them cool there for now. And then we'll put them on the rack with the other ones. Anyway, this soup is really easy to make. It goes together really quickly. Yes, I did a little prep beforehand, but the only thing you have to cut up is the onions, the garlic, the butternut squash, which you can buy either frozen or in the produce section already chopped up, and the potatoes. The recipe called for Yukon Gold, so that's what we got. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to share with you, let's see, the spices go in. It's cumin, garlic powder, onion powder, and oregano. That goes in. I always love adding my spices to the dry, just to the onions, because then they get really flavorful and smell really good when you heat them up. The other thing I wanted to share with you was this cilantro is a week old. You know what usually happens to cilantro in the refrigerator. You leave it in the bag that you put it in the grocery, and then you end up throwing it out. So I bring it home, take the twist tie off, cut the ends off, the bottoms, just like you would if you were bringing home fresh flowers, and I put it in a glass of water in the refrigerator. I don't cover it, I just leave it like this in the refrigerator. I have parsley in there too. That's better than a week old. Now, nutrition-wise, you know, these things have been off the stem for a while, or off the plant for a while, so I'm not sure how much nutrition, but there's still plenty of flavor and plenty of cilantro smell. So that's gonna go in at the end of the soup. So the next thing we add is the squash. I'm looking at my recipe. The squash, the potatoes, because those are going to take longer to cook, and then 2 cups of vegetable broth. There's 1 cup and 2 cups. This soup is really good, and it's really good served with brown rice, or you can just eat it plain. So 2 cups of vegetable broth. And be sure your vegetable broth doesn't have MSG or yeast extract in it. You don't need that stuff. They're just preservatives that your body doesn't know what to do with. Actually, yeast extract is an appetite enhancer. So like frozen pizza is notorious for having yeast extract because it makes you want to eat the whole pizza, not just a piece or 2. So that needs to come to a boil. And then you add the beans, the water, and the hominy. Oh, I forgot the green chilies. When do they go in? They go in right now. So I just got a little jar of green chilies, and those go in there. Like I said, I'm not so sure that this is exactly how the Native Americans would make their stew with their 3 plants that grew together, or if they even cooked them all together. I'm not sure. Karen, do you keep bopping off because you're at work and then you have to keep coming back on? Anyway, we'll put the lid down, give that a couple of minutes, and really if, oh, hi Sandy. Sandy, whenever I'm cooking chili, I think of you from that year we went to Laura and Rick's for their chili cook-off on New Year's Day. Isn't that funny? I still think about you every time I make chili, or actually anytime I put something in the crock pot, which is a couple times a week. Hope that doesn't freak you out. Anyway, it's November, the holidays are coming, so my thought is that we cook accordingly. I know there's plenty of sweets, there's plenty of heavy dishes, so I thought I would do some modifications, share some of the recipes that I make for Thanksgiving as sides, and if anybody on here has a different idea, you should comment below this video and let me know, and I'll see what I can do. Also, I have a workshop coming up on Thursday. Nope, that's wrong. Wednesday, the 9th. I don't know why I keep wanting to make it Thursday. We'll be cooking next Thursday. But on Wednesday afternoon, I'm having a workshop. And the workshop's all about letting go of the overwhelm that we can get wrapped up in if we get an injury or a diagnosis that we didn't expect, especially when we're very active and it kind of puts us on the couch for a minute. So we're going to be talking about how you get rid of those emotions and feelings you don't really want and get back into a better feeling place, back into a place where you feel more like yourself, and how to ask questions, get answers from the medical field if you have to go that route, or if there's another route that you can go to find out how to heal and get back to doing what you love to do, which for me is walking. And it's almost been a year since I got my diagnosis of osteoporosis, which put the fear of God in me, something I never wanted to hear. And then my left leg IT band got really, really tight. And I've been dealing with that for all this time. And I've really cut out my walking, and I can really tell you I miss it. I miss walking those long miles. I miss walking 5 out of 7 days. And I miss the thought of when's my next ultra. I did one in August, but it wasn't my best performance. And I would like to get that 100K on my calendar, Karen. So let's put the beans and the hominy in here and the rest of the water, and then we'll let it cook, and I'll let you all go back to whatever it is you get to do today. Did you see I said get to do? So there's, you know what? I never once showed you the pot so you could see what was going on in there. There you go. I just had to look at my mug the whole time. And 2 cups of water. And then it cooks for 30 to 45 minutes. And the reason for the longer cook time is the potatoes and the squash. They just take that much time. And when it's all done, I'm gonna put some cilantro in there and maybe a little salt and pepper. We'll see what it needs. I tend to not put too much of that in because beans, anything out of a can is gonna be salty. So there it is. I'll post later a picture of me eating it. How's that? And if you'd like the recipe, 100K, I know we can do that. Hey Roxanne, how are you? I'm so glad y'all came and joined me today. So that's our soup for today, the Three Sisters Native American stew. If you didn't hear the story, look it up or go back and watch the beginning part of the video, and I will post the recipes later this afternoon on this feed. All right, thanks for coming. Enjoyed seeing you all today. Bye. See you next week.